Let's go to London and our European correspondent, Jonathan Sacerdoti. And Jonathan, what new measures is the UK taking to fight the spread of the virus?
Well, Derek, the worst public health crisis for a generation. That's what British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the coronavirus crisis after he'd held a COBRA emergency committee meeting today. And he announced that many more people in the UK will lose loved ones before their time, explaining that the virus can no longer be contained. He did issue new advice, and that was that anyone with a new persistent cough or a fever should isolate themselves even without testing positive. The UK now has 596 confirmed cases of the virus and 10 people have died. The government says as many as 10,000 people might have the virus, but testing is still carried out for very few people. The effort to contain the disease is now officially over, and instead the country is concentrating on delaying its spread. But so far, they've stopped short of banning public events, closing schools, asking older people to isolate themselves, like many other countries have done. All this, Boris Johnson says, is yet to come. The Prime Minister and his advisors explaining that because they have forecast the peak number of patients will come in a number of weeks' time, it's too much to ask people to do that now.
So, Jonathan, how's the public reacting to all this, to the government's approach?
Well, many have been highly critical of the government's approach, questioning why other European countries are taking much stricter actions already, while the UK is announcing that people over 70 with existing conditions should avoid going on cruises, for example. No social distancing, no school closures, little control of those flying into the UK. The Prime Minister says that the UK is trying to stretch the peak of the disease over a longer period and to postpone that difficult time as long as possible. During those peak weeks, they will start to impose tougher rules, he said, to protect the most vulnerable. It's during that period, they say, that the vulnerable will be most at risk and those measures will be most effective. So while they have given up trying to stop the spread of the virus, they're still hoping to push the worst period further away to allow them to improve the chances of helping more patients. And they insist that they're being guided by science and that they'll do the right thing at the right time. The scientific advice, they say, is that closing schools at this time may do more harm than good.
Disturbing and concerning situation there in London as well. Jonathan Sacerdoti, thanks for joining me.